Okay, so today is a special day because I want to share with you my signature brush set made by Craftamo. I'm going to share with you how these brushes came about, and I'm going to do an unboxing talking about each brush and do a quick painting to show you what each brush does. I'm super excited, so let's jump into it. Hi, this is Eric from Cafe Watercolor. This is a dream come true for me as an artist. Since very early in my watercolor journey, picking the right material has always been a bit of a challenge for me. So I tend to pick out brushes that my favorite artists use. And that's when I realized that there are signature brushes. And I thought to myself, it'll be amazing if one day I have my own signature brush set. Especially after I started to offer online course, I wish I can offer my own brush set to students. One brush set that can take care of your majority of painting need. Fast forward to last year, Dan from Craftamo reached out to me and asked me if I'm interested to create a custom brush set for you. Since I have never used any brush made by Craftamo, Dan sent me some of their bamboo brushes for me to try, and I love their brushes. Not only do they look great, but it's also very nice to paint with. So I started to work with them last November, figuring out the sizes, the color for the bristle, the ferrule, down to the material of the brush handle. They were very patient with me and all of my requests. I have actually been using the prototype brush set for most of my recent paintings because I want to make sure they are up to the standard and I can paint well with them. So without further ado, let's do an unboxing and let me go over each brush in detail with you. Okay, so here's the box. It looks really nice. It's like a nice box of chocolate. So Eric Lin, ex Craftamo. My name is in this rose gold foil. Looks really nice. The cover art is Rudyard Lake, one of my favorite painting in the recent years. So I thought to put it on it and open up the box. It is magnetically shut, so it feels really nice. And inside the box, of course, my dear wife Betty, also another art for the box. Have to put my wife on it. Also here, my name and the Craftamo. This is our Instagram. And inside of the box, there is a printed card of my painting. And on the flip side, so I taped this up, but when you get the brush, when you get this card, there is a QR code that's going to lead you to an exclusive tutorial, unedited painting tutorial that's going to show you how I recreate this painting with the brushes. Not exactly this one, because this one is painted before I got the brush, but the demo is recreation of this painting using the brushes. So let's take a look at the brushes. They are absolutely beautiful. Okay, so I took the brushes out so you can see them better. So we got two mop brushes. They are black bristle. These are great for big washes like sky and a huge body of water or grass field or something like that. Anytime you have a big shape that you want nice, big, consistent wash, these are the brushes to go to. They're soft here with just enough snap, so it's great for a big free shape. And the middle brush is a round brush. Now this round brush, the hair color is different than these two round brushes. This round brush, the hair is much softer, so it is great for things like trees and foliages and stuff. And all these brushes have very fine tips, so you can expect to be able to make great variety of brush stroke and shapes with these brushes. So this brown bristle brush is great for organic shape and something a little bit softer. Now these two brushes, they are absolutely beautiful. They're very similar to Escoda Perla that I use, which is a synthetic nylon hair brush, but just look at the bristle. Just look at how beautiful that color transition is. I absolutely love it. It's based on their bamboo brushes. And I also love the color of their ferrules, nice rose gold color. It just pairs up really well with the wooden handle. The bristle on these two brushes are a lot more snappy, so it's great for smaller shape, for hard surface objects such as cars and maybe even smaller details like people and so on. So there you have it, the 5 brushes that I need for pretty much all of my paintings. I'm going to do a very quick demo just to show you what each brush does and show you how you can paint with them. Okay, so I'm going to do a small painting just to demonstrate the usage of each brush and how I usually use them, how you can incorporate that in your own painting, and just show you how nice these brushes are. So this is it's actually just right outside of my house. It's neighbor's tree. I think I took that photo sometime during the fall, maybe last year or a year before. Anyways, I'm just going to do a very simple drawing. This tree right here, tree trunk over here, and another tree here. So just a couple of different trees and stuff. So the street right there. I will do a little bit of the house here. There's some trees here as well. So this painting is going to be very rough, okay? I'm not looking to paint a very extraordinary big painting. This is just a demo showing you the brushes, okay? So I'll put a car here. There's a car far in the distance. I'm just gonna pull it forward a lot more. Okay, so something like that. Very, very simple. Okay, maybe like a smaller pine tree there. There we go. Okay, very, very simple. So the first thing I usually do is to make a big wash for the color of the light. Now in this case, since it is a foggy morning, the light is pretty much all over the sky and there's no directional light, so I actually don't have to think about that too much. So a big brush like these, see how easy it is to get a big coverage. Because this big brush, this number 18 mop, is similar to a squirrel hairbrush, it soaks up a lot of water and paint, so you can very easily get a big pool of paint, big pool of mixture, and you are able to cover the painting with ease. Okay, so see, just few brush strokes. I mean, this is a smaller paper, but just with few brush strokes, I can get a really nice coverage already and consistent wash. If I'm using a brush that is too small, it's going to take forever and it's not going to look consistent. That's why I insist to make a bigger brush. And this is a number 14 mop. I can use that to do a little bit of wet onto wet while the initial wash is not dry yet. I'm going to add a little bit of that beautiful fall tree. So this painting might get you ready to do some fall painting. Now wet onto wet like that. See, like the tip is really nice and sharp, so you can actually use that to your advantage to get some pointy and smaller details in the edge of these trees. Okay, so now I'm just kind of painting the color of the light on this fall tree here. Okay, get a little bit of that sky color back here. Okay, some more warm color. Now all this color, because of wet onto wet and because I'm painting them in the first wash, is going to fade off into pretty much nothing, so I'll have to come back in later for that. But to get a little bit of initial color going is great. Okay, a little bit cooler color back here. Still quite warm. Okay, all this trees is in the fall, so there we go. Some misty trees and stuff in the background. There's some pine tree Just some big shape like that. Okay. If you zoom it in with the brush shape like that, you can use the tip for the edge and come in, pressing down a little bit harder. So these brushes, all of these brushes gives you pretty versatile usage. You can paint a lot of different shapes with these brushes. Okay, and here is a little bit cooler. And the tree in the back. A little bit more paint. Don't want it to be too watery. Okay, so there's a tree in the back. Okay. Very, very rough here. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna try to continue this wash down actually, just with a little bit of the color here. Get some fall color right here, and back to a little bit more greener tone here. Some greens on the side of the road here in somebody's yard. Very well maintained. And before it's dry, I'm just going to connect this shape to the road. A bit more paint. I want to make it just a little bit darker, a bit cooler as well. Okay, I'll try to paint around the car. Okay, reload my brush. Get enough paint on my brush to do a nice clean wash. There we go. Okay. And now I'm going to switch to my number 12 round brush. This brush is great for things like trees, foliages and stuff because the hairs are softer. And you can have a more interesting organic shape with them. So actually a little bit warmer, so I'm gonna add more orange here and just a tad more water. And zoom it in so you can see it a little bit better. And you can have a little bit of details on the edges. So if I just use the tip, you can create smaller shape like this, and if you press it down more, you can get some bigger shape. So again, this brushes gives you a good variety of shapes as long as you know how to vary in your pressure a little bit, get more out of your brushes. Okay, a little bit more green mixed to it. Some looser leaves here. Okay, I'll use the side of my brush, create a little bit of the texture right here. Some quick brush strokes, and see how this brush hair kind of split out a little bit. That's perfect to create smaller, looser textures like these. Okay, so that's why I have this brush made for things like trees, smaller free shapes and stuff. Okay. Okay. Bring this shape out a little bit. Okay. Don't have to paint it 1-to-1, just get a big general shape in here. Okay. Some dry brushing, get the leaves in, and as it comes down, it gets a little bit darker. Still try to keep it warm though. Okay, there we go. Some darker shapes. Expand that leaf out just a little bit more. It feels like it's a little bit restrained. Make that tree, make this tree a little bit bigger. Okay, connect that shape to this tree in the back. And darker, more solid paint underneath here, and I am going to leave a little bit of highlight to hint that there's some cars and details in the back. Okay, paper is really small, so it's not really trying to make a lot of details, but just a little bit of perceiving details. So there's like a red card there. So all I really need to do is just to add a shot of red here, and I think we're good. And now I'm going to switch to my number 10 round brush, but this one is much more snappy. Look at the hair, it just bounced back. So it is great for hard surface objects such as cars, house, whatever. And I am going to have that connect here to this roof right here. Maybe a touch more cooler. Touch of blue here. Okay, there. And I'm also going to paint the roof over here, connect the shape. Okay, bit of purple. Okay, so some more of the house here. You just connect the shape is fine. We'll separate them with a little bit of color and some darker value later. Grab some yellow color, get that tree in here, some trees in the foreground. Not foreground, just in front of the house. Okay. Bit more green underneath here. Just get a bit of color going on. Okay, back using my softer brush. Okay, slightly darker color and I'm going to paint that big trees in the front. Do a little bit of wet on to wet on wet to have that shape melts into the house so the shape connects. Okay, so I think it's a good time for us to continue painting the tree, but now we will give it a nice dark color. Okay, so with the tip of my brush, I will paint just a few, very light touch, just a few tree branches. Use my pinky, support my hand, and just barely touching the paper. Get a little bit of those nice small shapes. Now you can also use a smaller brush, but I kind of like to challenge myself a little bit and have that interesting variety of brush stroke. And as we come down here, a little bit thicker shape, and two all the way down to the bigger tree trunk, all the way down here, and have that retaining brick over here. So something like that. Okay, I'll grab this brush and paint on harder shapes. Gonna fill up this white area. Okay, so some darker shapes here, a little bit of black. Okay, so just a few areas that are really dark. We'll paint those in here. Just a few areas, so don't start to outline everything. Okay. Okay, and a little bit of definition for the yard. Something like that. And now let's move on to this car over here. Now, I would do a slightly lighter wash here first and come back in with a darker reflection. Okay. Now I'm going to switch to my smaller number 6 brush. It's just going to make my life a little bit easier painting a smaller shape. Okay, a little bit cooler perhaps. Okay, here we go. A hint of red here because of the tail light, but something like that. I'll come back with darker color. This is almost kind of straight out of tube black. I'll add a little bit of water though. I don't want it to be too black. Still a foggy day, so don't want to make it too black here. Okay. Okay, bit of a darker darker reflection here on the side, so maybe there's some trees on the side and whatever is getting that dark reflection. And lastly, seeing I'll add just a little bit of the tree here, just to add some more depth. So switch back to my number 10 round brush, the soft hair round brush, which is great for stuff like these. Just a little bit of almost kind of like scribbling. But I push that in a little bit. It's right on the edge, doesn't look that good. And here we go. Got some nice depths going on. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit of water and maybe just push this out. Pull this forward, actually. Pull this forward just a little bit more so that the edge feels less abrupt. Okay, almost done. So everything is pretty good. I'm thinking just to add a little bit of texture on the ground. There's some water stain, there's some tire track, things like that. So add a little bit more water and just to kind of give it an interesting shape right here. So something like that. So that feels like a wet floor and a little bit of lure here, and just to get some very subtle tire track and whatever. I don't know why there's tire track, but sometimes I do hear really loud car noise in the middle of the night. Maybe there's some late night street racing at the neighborhood. I don't know, I hope not. Okay, but I think this is it. A few more brush strokes just to add some texture to the road. And a little bit of maybe leaves and whatever, just a bit touch of colors here. Okay, so that's pretty much it, and after it's dry I can sign my name using the smaller brush. And as you can see, I use the bigger brush a lot more. So smaller brush is really just for small minor details. I mean, I can add a little bit more tree branches with this brush, and also I can maybe add a little bit of pole, the lamp pole or something like that. But I use the bigger brush a lot more. I think especially this one, because especially when it comes to painting a lot of trees and stuff, I use this round brush a lot more. But every brush has their use. This is why it takes quite a bit of time for us to get the brush right, because I really want to have enough variety, but I don't want 10 brushes. So I think 5 brushes is the most brushes that I want to use in a single painting. So I hope you enjoy this quick demo, and hopefully this brushes is going to help you to achieve nice looking painting, even better painting than what I can do. So there you have it, my signature brush set. If you're interested, make sure you visit their website at craftamo.com. I will also put a link down below for you to check them out. One thing to keep in mind is that these brushes are limited edition, so once they are sold out, they will be out until there are demands to make more. So if you want to get one, make sure you check them out on July 16th. I will also do a live stream that day to do some paintings with the brushes and talk about them and more. Finally, I really want to thank you for your support. This wouldn't have been possible without you. As I mentioned earlier, usually artists who get a signature brush set are renowned masters. I am definitely not one of them, but because of your support of this channel, allowed me to have this opportunity. So again, I really appreciate you. Anyways, that's it for today's video. I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are. I'm Eric from Cafe Watercolor. I will see you on July 16th here on my channel.